Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. With the holidays quickly approaching and loved ones starting to gather, now is a good time to talk to your kids about consent. So here to share what that means and how we can encourage communication, we welcome back educator and family coach, Amy Williams. Hi, Amy. Great to see you.
Hey, thank you. You too.
What a great topic and good timing.
Thank you for inviting me to talk about it because it's really important.
We're going to gather with a lot of people,
Yes.
relatives, friends, some people that our kids don't know very well.
Right.
So let's talk about the concept overall. What is consent? What does that mean?
Sure. Consent is asking for permission to do something, to be touched, to borrow something, to share something like that. It's asking for permission to do something.
So we have to talk about it early
Yeah.
and often, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. With your young toddlers, you can let them know, I'm going to pick you up, or would you like to hold this hand or this hand?
Yeah.
And then they can make the choices, right? It builds their independence and their agency over their own body really early. And the conversation shifts as they get older.
Sure.
The topics and maybe the practice that you do with your child has different circumstances.
And you kind of plant that seed early so the conversation maybe isn't as challenging later in life, right? That they
Right.
know what that means.
Sure enough, they've already talked to you about it, and they're
Yeah.
already talking to their friends about it, or they're already practicing with their friends about consent.
So what about talking to some of the adults, maybe your family members, others that are going to gather over the holiday, making sure everybody's on the same page so that we have, you know, a comfortable and joyous holiday together.
Exactly. Well, that could be easy, and that could also be tricky.
Yeah.
So because of that, and because you may not know, it's important to have that conversation outside of earshot of children.
Yes.
Ahead of time, before they come in the door with their, spinach casserole.
Yep.
That you've already talked to your great aunt, or you've already talked to your uncle or grandma, grandpa. And a simple, hey, I just wanted to let you know we're talking about consent these days.
Yeah.
They're talking about it at school. Here's what consent is. So when you come over, we're practicing our child saying no.
Yeah.
And you could help us out with that by when you come in, ask for a hug, and they might say no.
Right.
Or they might say yes.
Yeah.
Or they might change their mind.
Yes.
Or they might come back later and say, I'll give you a hug now.
Sure,
Right.
but you frame that really gracefully. You're not pointing fingers. You're saying, here's something that we're working on, and you can help us and be on our team.
Yes, tell them beforehand, before they get there. Yeah, so if they have feelings about it or disagree or, oh my gosh, you're being too sensitive, you're having that conversation as the important adult who is there to stand up for your kid if your kid may not be able to stand up for themselves. And if they're 4 or 3 or 14, they may not be able to do that to an elder in their family or someone who they're supposed to respect or,
What about this? Because I like to give my kids a choice sometimes. If there's maybe a relative that they don't know as well, that person wants a hug, how about a high five or a fist bump instead? Does that kind of help ease the tension sometimes?
Yeah, you can fist bump, you could wave, you could wink, you could smile, you can bow, you can do whatever.
Yeah.
And you could practice that with your child beforehand.
Right.
So not only are you talking to your extended family or friends who are coming over before the event, you're practicing with your child before also.
Yeah.
Let them know these people are going to be there. And your grandma probably is going to want a hug, or your uncle's going to want a hug, or your cousin, whatever. And let's practice what you could say.
Perfect.
You can and role play, and you can make it fun or funny, and keep it lighthearted. I think true and brief is really helpful.
Good.
And often too.
Yeah.
Let's practice it. So when that happens, and you're the important adult who is right there, if you see them do what they practice, then right on. But you may see them freeze up and feel really nervous.
Yeah.
So you could step in and say, you can wave, or you can, and remind them what their options are.
You have a great book that can help, especially younger kiddos with this.
I do, I do. It's called Consent. What is that anyway?
Look how cute that is.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, and it helps adults and children read the book together, because there are prompts in there, like, pause, let's practice.
Yeah.
What if this happens? Or what if you change your mind? Or what if the other person? So it's not just necessarily me giving consent or not giving consent, but it's about listening to other people's consent or not giving consent. you know, your Uncle Randy really may not want you to jump on his back. So you have to ask.
That's a good one,
Can I
too.
jump on your back,
Turn
Uncle?
it around on them so they understand what that means.
100%, because that's a skill that they'll use their lifetime.
What a great way to frame it. Amy, thank you so much. Thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, you
We'll
too.
see you soon.
All right.
Again, Amy's book is Consent, What Is That Anyway? And we'll have more information about Amy and all of her books on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.